Hi students, I'm Miss Westendorf and I'm trying to be a teacher at Iowa State University. What are your names?
Megan.
I'm Megan. Okay. And today we are going to do one of my favorite things. It's measuring. When you measure, you can measure something by laying down another object end to end next to it. Because back in the old days when we didn't have rulers, when they didn't have rulers, I always had a ruler, but when they didn't have rulers, they would measure things by using pots and pans and cans and other things like that. So that's what we're going to try to do today. We're going to use three objects. We're going to use these starbursts that are going to form.
I love starbursts.
I do too. Maybe I'll let you have one at the end. We're going to use these starbursts. We're going to use some Legos.
My name is Abby.
And we're going to use these crayons.
Okay, so I have a question. How many of you
First,
guys
we're going to
like
start
to
off by measuring this
You?
container.
Okay, well, today I'm going to teach you how to solve math problems.
But before we do that, well, first, do you think you'll be able? We can do that. Do you think you know how to?
I don't know how to put them in there.
See, that's a good idea, but there's actually 5 things that we need to remember when we do this. Okay? We need to remember that. We need to start all the way on this whole end, all the way on one end, and go all the way to the other when we line them up, okay? And we also need to make sure that they touch each other from one end of the starburst to the other, or the object, anything. And when we lay them next to each other, we have to make sure that there's no gaps, because that wouldn't work, would it? So we need to put them all the way, touching each other like this. We need to make sure that they don't overlap, because we wouldn't be measuring that right, would we? No. So we need to make sure that they don't overlap. And we need to make sure that when we get all the way to the end, we get all the way to the other end, that they're in a straight line. So are they in a straight line?
Well, it's pretty straight to me.
Okay. So now we can count and see how many starbursts long this container is. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So the container is 11 starbursts long. Yes. Pretty cool, huh?
I wish the doctors measured me and stuff.
Okay.
That would be a lot of starburst.
I have 5 ice cream cups. And my friend Sarah gives me 2.
Okay. Next.
Okay, so I'm going to walk
try
you through
to
this.
measure my shoe. I'm going to show you how to measure
First,
my
we
shoe
need to take
with
5 ice cream cups. And put them
I'm going to measure my shoe with 5 Legos. Okay?
Yeah.
So we have to remember that we have to put it all the way from one end to the other. So I'm starting in the back of my shoe. Can you see this, Molly? Okay. I'm starting all the way in the back of my shoe. And I'm going next to it from one end of the Lego all the way to the other. And there's not going to be any gaps between them. And they're not going to overlap. And they're going to be in a straight line.
So if it curves, because your shoe curves?
No, because if it curves, it could make you skewed a little bit. But okay, so now are they in a straight line?
Yes.
Are there no gaps?
There's a little gap.
There's a little gap. We're gonna have to fix that. Okay, now are there any gaps?
Nope. Looks pretty good.
Do they overlap? And do they go from one end of the shoe all the way to the other? And are they lined up from end to end?
So you say first we need to take 5.
When I tell you that I want them lined up end to end, it's because I don't want them lined up this way. Because that would be way more than the amount that it takes from end to end. So we need to make sure that it's all the way from this end all the way to that end.
But I'll just start from reading.
Okay, so now, are we ready to count?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 Legos. So that means that my shoe is 4 Legos long. Yes. So if one of your friends would like to use this container to put their toy in, how long or how big would their toy have to be? Would it have to be? Do you remember how many starbursts we counted earlier? I think it was 11. 11 starbursts. So does it have to be more than 11 starbursts for it to fit in here, or less than 11 starbursts?
Okay, I have
Less than
5
11
ice
starbursts
cream
for it to
cones.
fit in here?
Then my friend Sarah gives me
Okay,
2.
now we're going to try to
How
measure this
many do I
container
have?
with these Legos.
Anybody know?
Will you help me with this?
Problem.
Okay. Now,
Okay, well, I'm going to show you a way that you can use
what?
to solve it.
What'd you say?
They're not touching.
Oh, they're
Okay,
not
so
touching each
first,
other? So what do I need to do?
You didn't start from end to end either.
5
Start all the way on the end?
No.
Okay, so I need to move this all the
to
way
show
down
you
here.
the
Is that
5
right?
that I originally
Okay.
had.
Oh, they're not touching.
And they're overlapping.
And they're overlapping?
Then I have to take
It is. Good
2
job.
more because my
I'm glad
friend
you
Sarah
remembered.
gave me 2.
Alright. So are we done?
No.
Why aren't we done?
Well, you need another Lego.
Oh. Another Lego. Okay.
No.
What's wrong?
Not right.
Then I have to put
It's
them
not straight.
Oh, it's not straight. It needs to be in a straight line. Thank you. Okay, so now are we ready?
Yeah, I think that looks pretty good.
Okay, so you're gonna count with me how long this container
let's
is. Ready?
count the total.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So the container is 4 Legos long.
Like your shoe.
Like my shoe. I'm glad you remember. So do you think my shoe would be able to fit in here?
So I have
Oh,
7 ice
probably.
cream cones
Try it
all
out.
together now.
It could fit in there, maybe.
Okay,
How
let's
to
do
do the same
another
size.
example.
Oh,
Might be a little snug.
a little snug.
Okay.
You guys remember that. So, now you guys are going to get to measure each other using this box of crayons.
Ooh, fun.
Yes. So, when you do this, you're going to one person's going to lie down on the ground, and the other person is going to measure them and see how many crayons tall they are. But first, before we do this, can you guys remind me of the 5 things that we need to remember when we measure?
You should start with the top to the bottom. It has to start like at the very beginning of it.
Yes. And where does it have to go to? Does it have to go to the middle or all the way
All the way.
to the end?
They have to touch.
From end to end or side to side?
And
End to end?
they can't be
Okay.
overlapping.
Yep.
John has 7
No gaps.
cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Then his friend gives him 1. How many
And does
cookies
the
does he
line,
now
can the
have?
line be curved or?
Do any of you
Straight
know
line.
this?
Straight line.
Straight
Is
line.
this a problem?
Okay, so are you ready to try this?
8. And how did
Alright, here you go.
Yeah.
I'll be walking around, make sure that you remember to do those 5 things.
This is dirty. What's your favorite color? Blue. Okay. We'll start with the blue one.
So first, I have to take 7
This is
cookies
gross.
to show how many cookies John has.
How am I so far? You're 2. 2 blue. Cool. 3 blue. Getting so many diseases.
Pink eye, more pink eye.
You're doing a really good job of making sure that those are end to end.
I like your shoes, teacher.
Thank you.
Okay. This
They're not
represents the 7
having any
cookies that
gaps.
There's
John
no
has.
gaps.
Overlapping.
No gaps.
Now, like
You're
the
gonna be
problem
so many
says,
crayons
you have
tall.
to add 1.
My deaf kids are gonna be. Hopefully, don't have a big first grader.
Okay, so let's count the total again. 1, 2, 3, 4,
18 crayons.
18 crayons tall.
8.
I was right.
So
Wow.
yeah, like Emily said,
Molly, will you
have
remember
8
that you're 18
18.
crayons tall?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you gonna remember that? 18.
18
Okay, now
crayons
I'm
tall.
gonna set up another problem.
Now it's time for Molly to measure Megan.
Woo! Okay.
Let's make sure that we pick up all the crayons first, so you can do it all by yourself.
Awesome. Okay, here we go. What do you think you'll be? A million. Are you super tall or short or what? I think I'm kind of regular.
Kind of regular.
I still remember doing this in elementary school. Stuff like this.
Okay, stop.